river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Make some noise! Thank you very much, Red Deer. Thanks for inviting me out, for putting this event on. When we planned to come out here a couple weeks ago, didn't realize it was going to be such an important couple of days leading up to this. You know, I do want to, before I talk a little bit about the ceasefire, I want to just shout out you folks here in Red Deer who have been keeping these protests going. We've been watching you from Calgary. We've been watching your social media. I know this is a smaller, much smaller group than we're getting in Calgary, but for Red Deer, this punches way above its weight. This is an important event. You all have been continuing here. You know, it's been inspiring us in Calgary to keep going. We've been telling folks, you know, the fatigue sets in, but we've been telling folks, hey, they're keeping them going in Red Deer. We can definitely keep them going in Calgary. So huge shout out to you folks for being out here. You know, out here in Red Deer of all places, in Alberta, Canada, the belly of the beast in a sense. So shout outs to you guys. Now what do you even say about the situation we're in? Y'all know, you know, the reality. I noticed this book that you guys have here with the names of the people, and it's not even up to date. That's from October 23 to August 24. God knows how big that binder would be today if it was counted and if it had all of the actual numbers. If this ceasefire holds, we should start getting actual figures. I heard that they discovered already today some 150 or something bodies just today, because being one of the first days that the bombing has stopped and they can actually start counting. So if nothing else, we should at least start getting some more accurate assessments of what exactly has happened, and we, all of us here in Red Deer, in Calgary and across the world, need to continue to be out here in these streets shouting from these sound systems at the top of our lungs about the facts that are going to be revealed over the coming weeks and months about what exactly has transpired these last 2 years. Transpired these last 2 years, must be said, with the full support of the Canadian government. The full support of the Canadian government behind this genocide, this Holocaust in Gaza, really. You know, the statements that have come out from world leaders, including Mark Carney, about this ceasefire, it's a little bit, it's sickening seeing the way that they've talked about this, as if this is like some conflict that both sides have been equally involved in, both sides have equally suffered from, and thank goodness that now we can just all sit together in peace. Peace is great. Isn't peace great, guys? Don't you all feel relieved? If you're a Palestinian in Gaza right now, aren't you feeling relieved? Oh, thank God we can move on with our bright future now. This little blip has ended and now we can move on. You know, if I was a Palestinian living in Gaza right now, I'd be feeling probably the same thing they've been feeling for the last 2 years. Terror. Terrified at what might come next. That it might just start again. This is not the first ceasefire we've seen in the course of these 2 years of genocide. You know, the mainstream media is going to try and paint this picture. Everything's okay, guys. The Palestinians are so happy returning to their homes. I wonder how many images of the homes you're actually going to see in Western media, yeah? The demolished entire cities, entire neighborhoods, just demolished. That's the homes they're going back to. We'll see if the Western media talks about this, but what they're not going to talk about is the fact that this could start again tomorrow. This could start again next week. Israel was conducting a genocide because it wants to get rid of the people of Gaza. Because it sees the people of Gaza as a threat to the Zionist project, which in a sense they are, because the Zionist project is a project of ethnic cleansing. It must eliminate the Palestinians. It's what they've been doing for almost 80 years, and it's what they're going to continue doing. This is at best a pause. You know, I saw a commentator online make the point. Wars can end in ceasefires. A war can end in a ceasefire. But this is not a war. This is a genocide. A genocide doesn't end in a ceasefire. A genocide ends in war crimes prosecutions. A genocide ends in a genocide tribunal, where the people responsible for conducting the horrors of the genocide are dragged in front of a court and in front of the entire world, have their crimes presented to them factually, hear their defense, and then have a sentence passed on them. How do we punish the crime of genocide? How do we punish what has happened these last 2 years? That is not in the discourse at all, which should tell you just how real and sincere this ceasefire is. This is a cover-up. I don't want to see Netanyahu sit down with representatives of the Palestinians and talk about the future together. I want to see Netanyahu dragged in front of the International Criminal Court. I want to see the world not debating what the future of Palestine will be, because that's for the Palestinians to decide, not the Canadians and the Americans and the Brits who have been literally enabling their genocide for 2 years. They have no right to sit at that table. That is not the world's debate. What the world should be debating right now is whether or not we hang Netanyahu for what he has done. Whether or not we hang Donald Trump for what he has done. Whether or not we hang Mark Carney and Justin Trudeau and Melanie Joly for what they have done. That is the debate that the world should be having right now. Do we hang these monsters or just lock them up behind bars for their entire life? That's the debate we should be having. And instead, these monsters think that we'll forget what they've done and that they can sit around a table like proper colonial gentlemen and decide the future of the people who they just spent the last 2 years destroying, absolutely destroying. Are we going to allow that? No, we're not. The people of Palestine are not going to allow it, and here's the most important point. This ceasefire was not something that the Palestinians begged for. This was something that the colonial imperialists needed. They needed the ceasefire. And do you know why they need this? Because they are losing. They are losing the battle for public opinion around the world. And most importantly, the Israeli army, after 2 years of the most savage brutality, being armed by the most powerful countries in the world, and with no restrictions at all placed on what they can do, despite all of that, the Israeli army has failed to defeat the Palestinian resistance in the field. They have failed to defeat the Palestinian resistance on the ground. They have failed to defeat a starved population, a blockaded population of men in flip-flops and sweatpants popping up out of tunnels with homemade explosives and taking on one of the most fearsome armies in the world. And the Israelis have not defeated them. The Israelis have not defeated the Palestinian resistance. They will never defeat the Palestinian resistance. And that is why they have come with this deal. That is why Trump has come with this deal. They are licking their wounds and they don't know what they're going to do next. They don't know what they're going to do next. They may try and convince some Palestinian collaborators to help disarm Hamas and the other resistance. The resistance is not going to disarm. The resistance will go back to war before they disarm. And we all have to stand behind this. This talk about demilitarizing Palestine is absurd. Absolutely absurd. After all of what's happened, no Palestinian should ever put down their weapons ever, ever, ever again. Okay? The only entity that needs to be disarmed right now is Israel. This conflict does not end when the Palestinians are disarmed. This ends when the Israelis are disarmed. This ends when Zionism is disarmed. This ends when that colonial imperialist ideology, that ideology of hatred and racism, that reared its head when colonialism came here to this land, that reared its head during the horrors of the Nazi Holocaust, that same ideology that today rears its head in the form of Zionism, when that is finally disarmed and thoroughly and fully disarmed, then this conflict will end. Until then, we keep these protests up, we keep building this movement, whether it's in Calgary, Red Deer, or anywhere else. And we keep standing behind the Palestinian people. And I know, looking around, I see the fire in the eyes of the people here. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. The Palestinian resistance is not going anywhere until we see a free Palestine from the river to the sea. From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
Thank you all so much. I salute your efforts here in Red Deer. Thank you all so much for having me.